Stop buying expensive seedlings. This entire jug of seedlings was grown indoors, in winter. Yes, even in the snow, while I was asleep. Today, I am going to show you the lazy gardener's secret weapon, winter sowing. It is the genius method of seed starting that has filled my Zone 8A garden year after year with gorgeous, hardy plants just like these. With winter sowing, you turn milk jugs into mini greenhouses that protect the seeds and provide the perfect environment for them to germinate and grow outdoors in the cold of winter. Nature does 90% of the work for you, and as an added bonus, it takes up zero space inside your house. If you are tired of leggy seedlings, grow lights, fungus gnats, and the endless hardening off process, and would like to achieve results like these the easy way, then you simply must try winter sowing. The result? Hardier, stronger plants that are already used to being outdoors. This is my step-by-step guide to getting it right. Welcome to finding joy in the garden. We have a lot to cover, so grab your milk jug and let's get started. So what items do you need to winter sow? Well, I'm glad you asked. You will need a milk jug, like this one. Of course, there are many other containers you can use, and subscribe because I will do another video showing you the other containers I've used to winter sow, and I'll show you how the plants came out afterwards. So subscribe so you don't miss that video. But a milk jug, devices to cut it. I like to use a knife and a pair of scissors, something to poke holes. This is a screwdriver, and as you can see, it's old. I burned the tip of it a couple years ago when I had to heat it up to make holes in the milk jugs. Now I find that the milk jugs are not as tough as they used to be, so I don't need to heat it up. I just poke a hole through, but they have changed the milk jugs, and they're much, the plastic is much softer. So a screwdriver should be fine. You can also use the tip of a knife to make your holes. You also need something to secure your container after you cut it. So I like to use duct tape, but you can also use a piece of wire and just cut a hole in the container and tie it off that way. But I feel like duct tape is pretty easy. You also want a spray bottle. And yes, the top of my spray bottle is gone because I have children. Do you have children? Yes. So, but you need a spray bottle. You also need some soil. I prefer to use potting soil. Do not use garden soil. Garden soil is made of sticks and stones, and it will break your bones. Well, it will break your plants, but it's just too dense, and the seedlings have a hard time pushing through with their root systems through the soil. Ask me how I know. I have unsuccessfully tried to grow seeds by winter sowing in garden soil. That did not work. You also need seeds, because, you are planting seeds. I'm going to be planting pepper seeds today because I've seen where some people say not to winter sow peppers, mostly because it's a warm loving plant, and winter sowing is much easier with cold loving plants. But it is possible. Every pepper I've ever grown in my garden has been winter sowed or bought from the store. So it does work, and I'm just going to use these seeds so I can show you that peppers absolutely will do well with winter sowing. They don't come up as quickly as other plants will, but they will grow. Some optional things, I like to use something to divide my container. So if you're planting just one type of plant in your container, then you don't need these. You can just spread the seeds all around, but I am going to be planting these 3 varieties of peppers in one container. So I'm going to be using these dividers to divide the soil so I know where each pepper is. Now, if you do not want to grow mystery plants, you need something to label it with. So I'm using this Sharpie paint pen. I've also used just a regular permanent marker, Sharpie, something to label with. And in the same vein, you need labels. So these are just plastic forks that I am reusing. I've used this in the garden already. You can see this one still has, this is a zinnia. I planted a zinnia. So I'm going to use the other side. Reuse, recycle, eh? So You need labels. I like to label inside the container and outside because I have labeled the outside and the sun bleached it all and I had no idea what I planted. And I've also labeled on the inside and the label fell over and I didn't know which was which. So now that we've gathered our supplies, we're going to start, and I'm going to show you how I cut open this milk jug. Of course, you want to be extra careful. Don't cut yourself. But what I do is you want to cut it right about here, all around to the other side, so that this end here can act as a hinge where you open and close. So what I do is, I'll put this down. I make a hole, or I make a cut, more like, right here with the knife. Like I said, be careful. So, one here, and then I turn it over this way and make another one here. All right, so one hole here, and one here. And that makes it easier for me to then cut it with a pair of scissors. So, I'll just put that in here. And then I can cut all the way around. So now, this container, like I said, there's a hinge here, so just joking, but it opens and closes very easily, okay? And as you can see, this container has no top. You don't need the top, so I don't save them. I just throw the top out. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I prefer to put the holes in the bottom first before I cut, but I always forget with the first one. But that's okay. I'm going to make the holes now. And I use, like I said, the screwdriver. Now, usually when it's whole, it's easier for me to just do that from the bottom. So what I do is I make 4 holes, at least one in each of these 4 segments. And I just, please be careful. So that's one hole, and you can make it bigger if you want to. So there, I'm just going to make 3 more holes. And it's always, this would be easier if this was heated up, but I'm not going to. And one more. All right, so now we have the holes. So this is going to be our mini greenhouse. Next step is to fill this with soil, and I like to pre-moisten my soil. So this is the potting mix, and I'm going to mix it with some water. So this is the soil all mixed up, and you want it to be moist. So you might be able to squeeze a little bit of water out, but not sopping wet. And this is not the best potting soil. I'm going to go get a different brand, the one I used last year. This one has more bark than I would like. So I'll get a new brand, but for the purposes of this video, this will do. So now I'm going to fill the container up with the soil. See what I mean? Sticks and stones. And the more soil you put in there, the more space your plants have to put their roots down in, so the bigger the plants can get. And that way you don't have to take them out and up-pot them or anything like that. So, there. And like I said, this step is optional, but because I'm going to be planting 3 different types of peppers in here, I'm going to be using this to separate. They're not equal. I didn't get my fractions right, but it's okay. Not the end of the world. There. So now I can put 1 pepper here, 1 here, 1 here. and I'll also be labeling them. I like to make the labels before I put the seeds in. So this is the shorty sherdo pepper. The spelling is fantastic. Looks nothing like how you say it. So this is a shorty sherdo pepper. And then the lute shower pepper. That's a paprika pepper. And this is the New Mix lemon spice. I planted this last year. It was fantastic. So there go my labels. And let's start putting these seeds in the soil. How many seeds you decide to put in one container depends on you. In this one, I should probably just put 2 in each spot, but I will be putting at least 3 in because I just overplant. It's a thing I do, but you don't have to do that. You can put 2 in each section. For making holes in the soil, I like to use the end of a Sharpie, and I just go, see this? Resistance? I feel like there's some bark in there, but anyway. So I'll put 3 seeds in each hole. And last year I put as many as 6 in each section. They came up, they did fine, but I'm trying to do best practices for you. So this is a shorty sherdo. I'm going to put 1 seed in each hole. Now remember, look on the seed pack to see the depth you should be planting your seeds. There are some seeds like, I believe lavender. Some seeds need light to germinate and you don't want to go plant them deep. So always read your seed label. And I just cover it with some soil. So Mr. Sharpie helps me with that too. There. Yep, bark. I don't like this soil. Get a quality potting mix. I'm disappointed in this one. So we planted the shorty sherdo, and we can put the label here. And let me see, make sure it can close. I believe so. It might be easier putting it on the other side. Here. Yep, that works. All right, next pepper will be the blue shower pepper. And I've got 3 seeds as well. So 1 in each hole, just like the other one. Cover it up with some soil. And then our last pepper is the New Mix lemon spice jalapeno. 3 peppers as well. Oh, well, see, look, it was meant to be. They wanted to be 4, so I'm going to make 4. I don't need an excuse to overplant, so I'm just going to make it 4 holes instead. That'll be fine. I didn't do that deliberately. I just wanted to be extra. So 1 each hole. And cover it up. So it's as easy as that. Now this soil is pretty well moistened, so I don't need to, but if your soil is a little bit dry, you would need to spray it with some water. And that's where your spray bottle comes in handy. So this way. You'll just give it a mist. Like I said, remember to label. So this would be the blue shower, paprika, and the New Mix lemon spice. Right. So it's all in and labeled. You can also write the names here, so I'll do that as well. And I might just put not the full name, you can also just do almost like initials. If you wanted to, you could, instead of writing the names, you could just write a number on the can and then write A, B, C, and then record that in your book. But I will lose the book, so I'm not that person. But that might work for you if you're more organized. All right, so let's shimmy this in so that the labels are on the inside and it's closed. Show you that. Now, some people have actually left this completely open like this without taping it around. I don't know how that would work. That doesn't work for me. So I am going to tape it all around with duct tape. So here's the duct tape, and I start from one end. I start from one end of the hinge and then go around it. So we'll start here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want it to hold. It's never perfect for me, but it still works. And sometimes it doesn't get all the way to the end, but that's fine. It's a little bit open, but that still works. So see how it's not pretty? It's not artwork. There you go. So that's my first milk jug done, and 650,000 left. Just kidding. But 3 peppers separated, but they will grow together in this little mini greenhouse outside. The next step is to take it outside, and it is 2 degrees Celsius, like 36 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's going to be happy out here. So I like to put it here. This is the closest area to the house, so it does tend to be the warmest. And I will be putting it back here. Let me find him a spot. This should do right here. So there. And you want to put her, I say her, you want to put the container where it can get rain. So you don't want to hide it under your roof where the rain doesn't fall, but you want to put it somewhere where it can get some rain so you don't have to water it. If it snows, that's perfectly fine. Snow is water. And these peppers will come up when they're ready. They'll come up when they're ready, and they'll grow inside this protected greenhouse until I'm ready to transplant them. So I hope this was helpful. Please subscribe, because like I said, I will be making other videos showing the other ways I have winter sowed with different containers, and hopefully giving you ideas on how you can also winter sow in your garden. If you have winter sowed in the past and you have any tricks or tips, please leave them in the comment sections. It might help someone. If you would like to watch me grow seedlings out of a freezer bag, click here. Or if you would like a playlist of all things winter sowing, click here. And until next time, may you always find joy in your garden and your life.